If you ask an older generation what did apples taste like, they would probably give you a whole speech on how much better it tasted back then than now. And you probably say to yourself, they're probably delusional, or maybe because they were younger, everything tasted better. But in the last 100 years, farming apples and the technology used in this type of farming has been very complicated. Since producing high quality apple has been a problem throughout history, especially when you enter the 20th century, apple farmers didn't like producing this type of fruit where the colors are all over the place, their size is small and large, and because of all this, the profit in this type of business was extremely low because the apple farmer would only sell the good apples and the rest would be thrown away or turned into a type of fertilizer. So there was barely any money to be made. And this is when farmers, specifically scientists, started experimenting on how to make apple farming a lot better. And of course, this all began in the United States. Everybody knows that apples grow on trees. And as you know, when you take the seed from an apple and put it in the dirt, you will most likely get another apple tree. But the new apple tree is somewhat very different from the original apple tree you took the seed from. And this is extremely normal. You could kind of use an example of why does every boy not look like his dad? Because he also has the DNA from his mom. And you could kind of apply that to fruit trees as well, especially apples. But when a farmer is farming apples, he doesn't want all his trees to be different from one another. Because when you have different types of apples, they're different sizes, different colors, the buyers are only going to buy the good looking ones or the nice colored ones. And this leaves a lot of unloved apples that you most likely have to use as fertilizer instead of selling to the market. And of course, you're not making a profit farming this type of fruit. These farmers began slowly, something humans have been doing for thousands of years. Basically taking a branch of the good apple tree and putting it over the young tree. In simple terms, you're basically converting the DNA of the original apple tree into the new tree. So technically, this new tree should give the same products as the original tree. This has been done for centuries by humans and is nothing new. But these scientists wanted to make these apple trees even better. They wanted to make the apples more colorful, sweeter, better looking, a stronger red color to it, and of course make the tree give even more fruits. This is when modifying the genetics of the tree begins, something that hadn't existed before then. So these scientists or engineers or whatever you want to call them got to work and decided to make this happen. Make the apples have better coloring, make their sizes the same and bigger, and of course make the tree produce more of them. Like for example, if one tree gives 100 pounds of produce every year, make it give 300 pounds of produce. One of the first things they did is pollinate the trees manually with the pollen they want and put a bag over the pollen so nothing else from insects or the wind comes in contact with it. With this, you're basically producing the genetics you exactly want, and nature has nothing to do with it anymore. But next year, when they take this engineered or modified apple, they make it even better for the next year's products. So what they're doing here is taking many years to produce the perfect apple. What we're telling you began in the 1960s in the state of Minnesota, and this is nothing new. They've been at it for many years. The apples that they wanted to come up with took them 19 years. And the apple we're talking about are honeycrisps. In their opinion, honeycrisp was the perfect apple. It was beautiful. It was the perfect size. It gave a vast amount of fruit per tree. It was sweet. Pests wouldn't affect the fruits. Long story short, the apple was perfect. What these farmers did was beautiful because they made the apple much better. But the problem is other farmers, not only in the US but around the world, learned these types of methods. And they wanted to do everything quickly. They didn't put the time and research into it like the farmers from Minnesota that created the honeycrisps. They wanted to get this thing over with in a few years, which is why all this sloppy work and no planning ahead made these apples look good, produce a ton, be larger than normal, but it tasted terrible and it was nothing like the honeycrisps. And it's not only the apple industry that got this terrible treatment that made it worse and worse. Other products, especially corn, got it as well. You basically cannot find the original corn that the Europeans found when they got to the Americas, because in the 20th century it has been so genetically modified that the original corn is pretty much extinct. You can talk about genetically modified foods and how it has been ruined. Like another example are potatoes. And when you modify them like this, you not only ruin their taste, but the quality goes down as well. The only thing is that you get a lot of it when you plant it, and also it's much larger than their natural counterparts. But apples are the most genetically modified fruits in the world. Thankfully, genetically modified wheat or rice is not around. Long story short, scientists don't want to take the risk to genetically modified wheat, one of the most important things to keep the world not hungry. Also, rice is the second most important thing to fill people's bellies, so these scientists do not want to touch it to make it worse. Genetically modifying some things like different fruits to make them better, like what the Minnesotians did with the honeycrisps, is a good thing. But when you do it without thinking and you only think about profits, that's when it goes south. What do you guys think?